The Democrats had 4 years. Here's 4 years to prove everybody wrong and say, look at how bad Trump was. Look at what we've done. They did absolutely nothing. They got exposed and they did shit. Sorry for my language, Pierce, but this is what I want them to do besides being a unifier, because I wrote some of these things down. We need election reform. Number one, here's the fact that California, Gavin Newsom, has made it illegal to even show your ID to vote, speaks volumes on what these people want. Flying illegals to all these swing states is unbelievable. And all these battleground states, that's cheating. He has to do that, number one. Two, I want him to get all the Epstein's list, and this is not unifying, but these retribution, we need exposure to all these people. Epstein's list and holding all these people accountable for what they did. January 6th, we need a full investigation. I know, excuse me. Yeah, okay, listen. Get rid of that bullshit.
His best friend for 10 years. Okay. I'm sure that list is really forthcoming.
By the way, switch everything on Donald Trump. Not Bill Clinton or any of your go-to Democrats.
As you know, the leftist meltdowns ever since Trump won the 2024 presidential election have been absolutely glorious. Amazing to watch. It's been the best 2 days that I've had in a really long time. It's been awesome. And of course, Piers Morgan, is going to capitalize on this as well. He brought together an absolutely great panel. We have Vinny from the PBD Podcast. We have Cenk Uygur. We got Crystal Ball. We got Dan Crenshaw on this panel here. And it goes absolutely nuclear. Vinny absolutely obliterates Crystal Ball. He obliterates Cenk Uygur. It's heated debates after heated debates on this episode. Let's get into this clip here where Vinny Oshana from the PBD Podcast absolutely destroys Cenk Uygur and Crystal Ball in this clip. Let's check it out.
Over the border, which is putting huge pressure on public services. Was it they just bet the bank on the wrong issue? That actually, yeah, it's important, but not as important as I kept saying. I think it's the economy, and immigration. They're the two reasons that Trump is so popular.
I think that I and others overlearned the lesson from 2022, because in 2022, I was saying, oh, look at the economic numbers. Voters are saying economy, inflation, these are number one issues. The economic numbers, by the way, were far worse at that point. And I said, it's a wrap. Like, it's going to be a massive red wave. And then that red wave didn't materialize. So I took from that this issue, which had really been a game changer in terms of the American public in a way that, frankly, I did not anticipate before. But I think part of what is different in 2020.
Why do you guys think, let me know in the comments, why do you guys think the red wave never actually happened in 2022? My theory on it is because everybody just said a red wave was coming and nobody actually put in the work to tell people to go out there and vote. And also, coming off 2 years after 2020, we were so demoralized because it seemed like the election was kind of ripped from us and there was nefarious things happening. I think we have actually even more data that points towards that now. If you look at the voter numbers from 2020 versus the voter numbers in 2024, there's a huge disparity, but that's a topic for another time. But so many people were demoralized, and also the narrative was that a red wave was coming, so everybody kind of felt like they could just sit back, chill, not go out to vote, whatever. I think that's why. But let me know in the comments why you think the red wave in 22 never actually happened.
Is number one, it's much larger general election electorate, so that's a big change. And number two, as much as I think there are failures on the Democratic part, I also think we can't deny that Trump is this uniquely charismatic performer, and people love the show. So he outperformed every Republican on the ticket, which is also a rebuke to, a lot of Republicans who thought that they had to get rid of him because of all of his baggage. I actually think he's the most, likely to win of the Republican set. I think Ron DeSantis would have been in much more difficult terrain. So every single Republican Senate candidate underperforms him, save for, I believe, one. So I think that's part of why. But, look, the country overwhelmingly says that we're on the wrong track. They're very dissatisfied with the economy. Joe Biden's approval rating is very low. Those are very favorable conditions for a challenger to come in and win. And so when voters say at the end of the day, economy and inflation, those are my number one issues, I believe them when they say that.
Okay, Vinny, what do you want to see Trump do in his second term? I totally agree with what Dan said, that he'll be much more conscious of his legacy because he hasn't got to win another election. So he's got a second chance that maybe even Trump, if he's honest, thought at the start of 2022 he might not have got. I thought he was dead and buried politically. I think most people did. So the fact he's won again so emphatically is extraordinary, but it gives him an extraordinary opportunity to correct the legacy that he left with last time. What do you want to see him do, and how important is it to unify America? It's so bitter. It's so divisive, American political discourse now. Would you like to see him bring people into the tent? For example, putting some people perhaps in his cabinet from the other side, bringing people in, being a genuine unifier.
Yeah, and Piers, I mean, he was already doing it. If you watch the campaign trail, he not only had Jewish Americans backing him, in Detroit, he had Muslims going on stage and saying that he has the Muslim vote again. And I do think, Piers, I mean, and just going back, Piers, the Democrats had 4 years, Piers, 4 years to prove everybody wrong and say, look at how bad Trump was. Look at what we've done. They did absolutely nothing. They got exposed and they did shit. Sorry for my language, Piers, but this is what I want him to do besides being a unifier, because I wrote some of these things down. We need election reform. Number one, Piers, the fact that California, Gavin Newsom, has made it illegal to even show your ID to vote speaks volumes on what these people want. Flying illegals to all these swing states is unbelievable. And all these battleground states, that's cheating. He has to do that, number one, too. I want him to get all the Epstein's list, and this is not unifying, but this needs retribution. We need exposure to all these people. Epstein's list and holding all these people accountable for what they did. January 6th, we need a full investigation. I know, excuse me.
Donald Trump.
Yeah, oh yeah. Okay, listen. Get rid of that bullshit.
Best friend for 10 years. Okay. I'm sure that
Donald
list is really forthcoming.
By the way, okay, yeah. Switch everything on Donald Trump. Not Bill Clinton or any of your go-to Democrats.
If you enjoy content like this, then make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out a ton. Let's get back to the video.
But anyway, let me finish.
I called them
January
out,
6th.
Donald Trump was
6th,
his best friend for 10 years, so conveniently ignore that.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, they were best friends, yeah. The January 6th investigation, the pipe bomb investigation, Piers, I think he needs to pardon all the people that didn't do anything wrong, that were just standing there. They got freaking 20 years in prison. Yeah, oh my God. Yeah, it was an insurrection. No guns, no nothing. Nobody got killed. The only person that got killed.
The trouble, Vinny, the trouble is...
It's so funny, though.
Vinny's spot on here, by the way, especially with the election reform stuff. I haven't checked in the last hour or so, but I was recording a video earlier and I pulled up the election results so far. It's currently November 7th at 6:20 p.m. And an hour ago, Arizona had still not reported 30% of they've only reported 69% of their votes. Nevada's still not fully reported, whereas Florida has reported 100% of their vote 2 hours or 3 hours after the polls closed. Something is completely wrong with the United States elections, and it's getting worse. Like Vinny said, you need election reform to be number one priority. 110% agree. The accountability stuff is great. Hold people accountable, hold Fauci accountable, I actually think you should go hold the people who did the investigations on Trump's Russia collusion. I think those people need to be held accountable more than anything. That needs to be brought back up. But regardless, election reform needs to be number one, because Florida implemented new election laws this election, and look how smooth their operation went. Arizona has only reported less than 70% of their votes so far. That's unacceptable. Then there's the stories coming out about the college student. I think it was in California. I think he's a UCLA student. He voted multiple times, 7 times or something like that, and they only caught him because he went back and asked for his ballot back for some reason. Imagine how many other people out there are voting multiple times because they're not forced to show their ID. It's absurd, man. It's absolutely absurd what's happening. And people act like if you're asking people to show their ID to vote, you're being racist or something. Why do you draw the line at showing your ID to vote? Why is it not racist to show your ID to buy alcohol? Why is it not racist to show your ID to buy marijuana? Why is it just to vote? It makes no sense, man. It's just so obvious that we have half of this country, or less than half, according to the popular vote this time around, but half this country are completely lost. They're completely gone. I don't know if there's anything, I don't know if you can recover it. If you think it's racist to have people show their identification to vote, to make the most important decision you could possibly make in this country, something's wrong. Something's wrong with your brain fundamentally, and I don't think there's any recovering those people. Regardless, though, we have the power right now. We have Donald Trump as the president, but more importantly, we have the House and the Senate on our side. It's not a supermajority, but it's pretty good. We have it on our side. So we can actually get things done. It's only 4 years. I wish it was longer, but it's only 4 years that we have. We need to make election reform top priority. Accountability is great. It's really important. Election reform needs to be number one. I agree with Vinny 100% there.
Look, hang on. I tell you what.
It starts with like, oh, we're going to be unified, and then it's like, here's who I want
Well,
retribution.
that's the point I was going to make, Vinny.
Because she wants us to forget.
No, but it's
because you want us to forget.
Look at Cenk, man. Cenk can't even get excited. This guy is just pissed off right now. He's like, I don't care about anything y'all are talking about. Donald Trump just won the presidency. I'm pissed off.
You want us to forget? No. It's classic because you guess what? You gotta go on accountability. You don't want accountability. No. Let me finish. You don't want accountability. And that's what you Democrats do. Yeah,
hold on,
accountability for all the
all right,
bullshit.
this doesn't sound very unifying now. Let me just hang on, hang on, please. Hang on, just time out, please. I want time out. I want to bring in Frank Luntz, who's obviously one of America's top pollsters. Frank, we've talked a lot in this presidential race. It's been incredibly unpredictable.
Not this motherfucker
We've seen
again.
assassination attempts. We've seen the usurping of the Democrat nominee. We've seen Trump convicted of a crime and then ending up.
All right,
back
this
at the
guy's
White
hair is
House.
absolutely ridiculous, man. I'm not sitting there watching that. I don't care what he has to say. The guy predicted Kamala Harris to win. He's an absolute idiot. Anyway, I agree 100% with Vinny there. And with the crystal ball, what she's saying about you say it's about unity, and then you say I want retribution for X, Y, and Z. It's not really retribution. It's holding people accountable. And I said the same thing on a live stream yesterday where I said, I don't think we should really focus on holding people accountable. I don't care about Fauci getting thrown in jail. The guy's like 85 years old anyway. It's not going to really, like, he doesn't have that many years left. It sounds dark, but it's the truth. Like, he doesn't have that many years left anyway. Who cares about that? We have a limited time. We have limited energy. We have limited resources. We only have 4 years. We should probably not focus as much on accountability, but for the major things, like I think the Russia collusion investigations back in 2016 and that during that time period, they need to be held accountable for that. Because that was I don't want to go too far into it for obvious reasons, but that was just the most corrupt thing I've ever seen in my life. And then the election reform thing needs to be top priority. And then holding people accountable, like the Epstein list stuff, is a no-brainer. Like if you can actually hold people accountable for that, it's a no-brainer. So things like that, pardons. I think there's a lot of pardons that need to happen for sure. There's people who have been in jail for either too long or wrongfully in jail. That stuff needs to happen. That's very easy to do. Obviously, pardoning. Yeah, I think Dave Smith and Joe Rogan were talking about it. Pardoning people like Edward Snowden, that would be a whole lot more difficult. But you know, there's other people out there that are just wrongfully in jail that I think a lot of pardons need to happen. Election reform needs to be top priority. Let me know in the comments if you agree with me and Vinny about election reform being the top priority. Like I said, if Florida can get their results in 2 or 3 hours after the polls close, there's zero reason why Arizona and Nevada should still be counting votes 2 days after. So a full 48 hours after their polls close, they still only have 70% reported. That's absolutely unacceptable. It should not be accepted by the American people. Why is that the case? Why? Somebody give me a reason. It doesn't make any sense why those 2 states are incapable of counting votes. Anyway, let me know in the comments what you think about this whole Vinny from the PBD podcast going on Piers Morgan and destroying these woke idiots over on the Piers Morgan Uncensored Show.